All right, welcome. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
There you go. I'm gonna put in some lo-fi chill music here, like I always like to do.
Chill
But just
vibes.
like,
Oh my goodness. Can you turn the volume on that down, please, so I can hear you?
there you go. Yeah, I'm putting. There you go. There you go.
Thank you.
Just blast out our eardrums, Anthony. It's fine.
I know. Clubbing. Yeah, let's go.
I'm not contributing to this conversation anyway. I'm just here, so I'll just listen to the lo-fi music and pretend that I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you pop to the music, it kind of will be like you're nodding along, and then we'll have no questions.
Mm-hmm. Well, welcome everybody. Yeah, let's do some introductions real quick. Who wants to go first?
Waffles.
I'll go first.
Roll initiative.
Hello, I'm Waffles, one half of Waffles Maple Syrup. Real name Stefan, you can call me that. Nuclear engineer background. Love tabletops and video games, usually things to do with strategy.
Nice.
Neat.
Yeah.
Hi, all. I'm Syrup. That's what I usually go on here, but Ada as well, whatever you want. I am the other half of Waffles Maple Syrup, and we're co-gems on our new show Golem, which we're really excited about. Pathfinder and Starfinder actual play, so we're definitely in the nerdy realm and all that jazz.
Nice. And Taylor,
Hi.
say hi?
Yeah, okay, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Taylor. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the chief of staff here at Moonbeam.
Nice. Well, and I'm Anthony Joyce Rivera. So everybody, welcome. We are gathered here today to talk about the pilot program that you all are in, and just public realms. I think it's a topic of the day that you all have. So the floor is both of yours, and we can just have a conversation here. And then if you all want to ask questions too, put them in chat, and we'll talk about it. So we're gonna go for about 30 minutes or so. So yeah, let's have a good time. All right.
Sounds awesome. This is like the first question that's not at all relevant, but I have to ask: is that a blackboard, like chalkboard, behind you, Taylor? Because that's amazing.
Yes. Hello. So I have two young children, and my 3-year-old was drawing on the walls. So we just painted this entire wall in like chalkboard paint.
That's
and you can see like they've done like their Easter drawings.
Some Easter eggs.
This thing here that my finger is pointing at, I was teaching my 3-year-old how to draw a bunny, like step-by-step instructions, and then he just added a bunch of legs and called it a spider, and I was like, yeah, okay, happy Easter.
My instinct in seeing a massive chalkboard is to do that 90s S, you know, with the it needs to be like the top left corner.
Yeah, exactly. No, 100%.
Okay, so that was my first question. Thank you. But I did want to talk about public realms, and I did very much want to have that chat like with everybody in chat as well, because the thing that I was very interested, because Anthony, a little bit ago now, I think it's been a little bit more than a week now, you made a post, a very transparent, awesome post about like, what is everybody's thoughts on public realms? What are the ways that we can go about it? And from the conversations that have stemmed from that post, as well as like conversations that we've had in the pilot chat, I've noticed that there are many interpretations, visions, thoughts on public realms. And that means that it's like also a little amorphous for my brain. Like, you know, like it could be so many things. Obviously, we're in very beginning stages right now, but I would love to kind of, throw ideas out there and also get an idea of, what direction you want to go in.
Yeah.
So some of the things that were kind of stood out to me from the comments from that major post was that we don't want to make popular realms more popular alone, at least like only, right? Yes. And one of the thoughts with public realms is, if we highlight them, if we sort of say like, here, these are some popular streams or realms, how does that then kind of contribute to the overall environment of the different realms, private realms, public realms, etc.? I thought that was a very interesting conundrum.
Yes. Yeah, no, so it's interesting. I'll kind of give some background and kind of like why this first iteration is coming out. And I'm going to this is just very transparent, blunt, matter of fact, and we'll go from there. So one thing realms are kind of is like Discord. Like that's very obvious from the get-go. And I think some of the issues we saw at the gate is it kind of has the same baggage as Discord in the sense of like, it's hard for a realm or a Discord server to be like, there's discovered, right? Like, how do you discover a Discord server? It's usually someone who's already in it gives you a link and you join it. And that's how a realm kind of functions, right? Like
you found the community on Twitch and then you join into their Discord after found them already elsewhere. Yeah.
It's kind of like, I got to know someone who knows somebody and I get in. So we were thinking about when we first launched with just the realms, there's a few things at play and a few interesting things I'll share with the audience. That is, to get a realm, initially, you needed to back us at the realm owner and above tier, okay? There is a significant number of backers at that tier and above who never even touched their realm. Now, that is for many reasons, right? It might be because they just love Moonbeam and they want to support us, right? And they didn't really, the realm wasn't really the motivating factor for getting us at that tier. So I get that. So it's like there was we didn't have like the user connected with the realm concept maybe just right. It was just randomly people that wanted to support us a lot kind of got that. Yeah. So the realms had this initial issue where there was just a discoverability issue. And we also found that folks that were coming onto Moonbeam, they don't have a realm, they want to stream. They were having some hesitation to stream into a realm. And a lot of things we heard were, well, I don't know these people, and I don't want to make a mistake, or I don't want to look bad, or I don't want to feel like I have to commit to streaming in a certain schedule, or all these different factors. Stuff I never really thought about, right? So we said, well, how do we give people that want to stream on Moonbeam like instant access, but also help realms discover streamers and then help realms themselves become discovered? And the thought was like this public realm concept where a more open realm built around a theme or some broad topic that people could initially stream in. It's managed by an individual who's very in touch with that. And so like we'll talk in a little bit like the Tabletop Guild, you'll be taking over that. So folks that understand the genre and niche who can then kind of curate it. And then people from all over Moonbeam can build connections there, and that could feed into the smaller realms.
So I'm hearing a lot of discoverability. I'm hearing a lot of connecting people. Instinctually, so obviously when we talk about certain things, I might make a lot of references to pre-existing like things like Reddit or how Twitch does things or things like that. But obviously knowing that like we can take components and then make it completely our own. So if we mention something like I'm going to talk about Reddit in like a second.
Yeah.
If somebody has concerns about how some of the culture has generated due to how Reddit handles things or how Twitch handles things, that's actually really interesting to me. So I would love to hear, what should be avoided on the other side of this. But my instinct is, in a way, because we have to distinguish public realms from private realms. That's kind of the
Yes.
big thing that was stuck in my head, because technically somebody can make a tabletop private realm. Just be like, hey, yes, I'm a private realm all about tabletop. So what's the difference between a tabletop public realm and a tabletop private realm? Where is that distinguishing this? So that's not a word, but that's okay. So I was thinking of like a front page, almost like a Reddit front page of, or actually no, a Twitch front page. Let's do Twitch front page for a second, where if I'm interested in a category, because that's one thing that we don't quite have here yet is categories. So if I'm interested in watching people that stream a specific video game, we have a video game public realm, but how do I want people who are playing Morrowind or something right now.
The Oblivion remaster just came out. Let me check it out. Yeah.
Exactly. And so tags, we mentioned that in the past as well, tagging streams and things like that might be very useful for that. But then how does that pair with public realms? So if we have a front page style, where right now the front page of Moonbeam shows a carousel of everybody who's streaming right now across all different genres, that's awesome. If I want that carousel specific to my interests, if I go into the tabletop or if I go into the video game public realm and I have a front page of its own, like a carousel of its own of all the people that are streaming into the tabletop realm, that's more relevant to my interest. Maybe I can then sort by more specific tags. Maybe each public realm can curate its own tags. And that also allows the distinguishing of public realms from each other and what private realms won't have necessarily.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's interesting. Yeah, it's a cool thing to think about, that if a public realm functions as like a mini front page, or even tags function as their own front page-esque, like you can click a tag and it generates a front page of its own, if you will, right? Is that what you're envisioning?
Yeah.
Like,
I am, but I'm also envisioning it specific to a public realm, because if we don't identify something that makes a public realm and not a private realm, then I think it's going to get confusing. I think you might have a very, very popular large public realm, or sorry, large private realm that could function the same as a public realm. So there is something that is needed in my brain to distinguish a public realm from a private realm.
Yeah, I think, yes, I agree. I think right now we're gonna figure that out. So the idea is they shouldn't look the same. They shouldn't be the same. I think the biggest distinguisher right now is, besides the simplicity of a public realm, is that anyone could stream there right away. It's not, it doesn't have, I don't want to use the word gatekeeping because that's not the right word, but like you can't just go into a private realm and start streaming there right away. It's a little bit more curated, I guess, is the experience, right? There is this interesting thing that we're thinking about though, and it's about discoverability, where public realms, I think, are gonna, if the question is like, if they get large, like what happens, right? If they get huge, that's actually an interesting thing, because I think it goes into like supply and demand. Because if you're a streamer, do I want to stream in a place where there's like overcrowded? Who could find me? You go to the discoverability issue. It's creating too much glut. I can't get noticed. So it's almost a forcing function of like forcing people to stream into smaller spaces to find those niches, the private realms. Correct.
Okay.
So it's kind of like forcing that funnel of giving this like big pool of streamers in a space to stream to over a content theme, and then get funneled into like smaller networks where they might get more actual engagement or build more a hardcore following, if you will. So that's kind of, yeah, go ahead.
And that's under the assumption that the streamer, the people who want to stream on Moonbeam, eventually, like significantly, probably 10-1 or more, outnumber the people that want to watch.
Correct. The viewers. Yeah. Now that's the thing we need too, is people who want to watch it, right? Now, if you look at how the realms are structured, I think like a private realm is more functional for a community to be built around, to like have engagement and talk and kind of do that kind of thing. Versus a public realm is more like just a big chat channel. Whereas there could be a lot of stuff going on, you know?
That's where like the Reddit analogy comes into my brain, where a public realm is like a rather large subreddit where it might not be a community, like a small tight-knit community for one of the larger ones, but it has a lot of posts, a lot of engagement, a lot of just people hanging out there to catch what's new and what. So it feels like if I was a viewer, I wasn't a streamer, and I came onto Moonbeam, the first place I would go is a public realm. I would check out my interests. I would find people that I thought were cool, and I was like, oh, and then maybe I follow them into a private realm where I'm like, this is a community that I really like, I really enjoy. And so you're going to be hanging out both in public and eventually in private realms, depending how much, I don't feel like looking at finding something new. I want to go to what I know for some discoverability. But as a streamer, I'd be going in, if I knew we're Waffles Maple Syrup, we have a brand, we have our own private realm for our community. However, we would still want that discoverability. We would still want to multi-stream into a public and private realm. And then you would still be getting the majority of your new audience captured from a public realm. So you really want to drive a lot of traffic to a public realm. To drive a lot of traffic to a public realm, I think you want people to hang out there a little bit more. And so there needs to be something, I think, more than just one chat channel. But if you're going to do more than just one chat channel, again, it's getting closer and more similar to a private realm. So my thought was, if we go with the front page style thing, and you said the fact that there's people that run public realms. Let's find a way to have their colors show through the public realm. If you can have the front page aspects of a public realm customizable by the realm owner, so they decide, do VOD show up here? Do VOD show up under posts? Like, make it almost like a little blog page that's like has widgets that like a realm owner can customize. I think that would be really, really cool.
I like that. Yeah, take a note of that. That's cool. Like, I like that. I'm
just gonna write down Tumblr style.
Yes.
Tumblr style widget.
My Tumblr past is showing.
It does meet our philosophy of modularity, and I think that is like what we are. So if we had a million resources, right, and we could just like wave a magic wand and do whatever we want, Moonbeam would be very modular in how we approach solving problems, because your needs are different than someone else's needs, and someone else's needs are different than yours. And the thought we have is, these things should look different because they are different. And there might be some public realms, I think, eventually that thrive, and private realms that are actually more post-based than they are stream-based, right? I know, like Sunbear, who's in chat. Hey, Sunbear, who does the arts and crafts realm. There might be a realm like that's more image-based than streaming-based. And so as we think about that, I'll tell you what this first phase of the public realm approach will be, our first experiment. And kind of why the public realms are very kind of bare bone right now is due to limited resources. We want to sit back for like a month and see what the realm owners all say. Like, this, I need this, I need this, I need this. And when we see that, we'll see like trends. And the trend might be, there's a lot of modularity that's needed. And then Pat is going to like pivot and build a lot of that stuff out. So for everyone out there who's a public realm owner, know that the intent, you may be like, why is this so scarce? Or why is it like this? It's really so that we hear from you and we build to spec, not assumption. And so that's kind of what you'll see play out and evolving. But I'm glad you're saying modularity, because I'm a fan of that.
And I think it's rubbed off on me. I've seen enough of the modularity comments, and I'm like, no, that makes a lot of sense. Anomaly said, could fix this by adding post section in each individual public realm. And I just wanted to clarify on that. Like, there is a post section, right?
There is.
Currently?
There is.
Okay.
Yes. So anyone can make a post in a public realm, the same way anyone could stream in a public realm. So normally, again, this goes back to the difference in a private realm. You would have to be given the rights to make a post in a private realm. But in a public realm, anyone could join Moonbeam and just go in there and make a post right away. It'll show
And
up.
so the public realm owner could be responsible for curating that, making sure things can get seen that need to be seen. If we start with a schedule type module or something like that, where it can take, again, keeping it modular, if you're putting a schedule in everybody's private profiles, that it could connect or in some way. So like if you're live streaming currently in a public realm, you can see their schedules or something like that. But I also think that like for a public realm, because there's so many people, like having a way to know who's live in the public realms and like what times of the week, and having that sort of like, I'm not following one person, I'm following a schedule of the public realm could be interesting. Something like that. There's a lot I feel like that could be done with the VODs as well. Like everybody needs to retain their own personal ability to delete their own VODs, especially if you're streaming to a public realm. But maybe we could have a thing for the VODs and people can showcase it however they want. Like, hey, this was a really amazing stream. Can the public realm owner highlight the VOD and say, like, check this one out?
Yes. See, that goes back to the idea. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I think it gives a good reason to have interaction between public realm people and the owners as well, if that makes sense, because they don't need to just be ghosts behind the scenes.
Yes, and that allows, like, that approach is where we envision like creators should be creators, and what you just described, Sarah, with like organization, that is a whole different skill set of like, how do I place things on a page for people to notice, and how do I sort things? Like, they create the content, they give it over to the realm owner, if that's a public realm owner or a private realm owner, and then those organizers of the content take it and then they do the magic, right? Like, so yeah, that's like the pipeline of
my
work.
Day job as well.
There you go. Yeah. So I love it. Like that. I love that.
I think Sinbear said it very well as well. I think the responsibility of finding private realms shouldn't fall solely to private realm owners. Maybe the tag system Sarah mentioned can help link people using the public realms to private realms by having a carousel of related realms featured in the public realm. So what I took from that, just I'm very visual. My immediate piece was, if I'm looking for streamers and I want to go through the public realm, well, I want a really easy way to see who already has a realm and who's looking for a realm. So if in people's profiles when they're streaming and they have a tag that they flip on that says looking for a realm, then we can have a separate carousel for those looking for streamers to look through only the people that are streaming that are looking for a realm.
This kind of links into an idea that we already had of like having associated realms with public realms. So this is something that the team has kind of thrown around an idea for, of like, I'm not quite sure like mechanically how we would do it, but like you would have in like a public realm, like a little sidebar, like around the about section that has like, so for example, with the Tabletop Guild, it'd be like, the Evil Hat realm is like listed there and you can link through to the Evil Hat realm. And then, because we have a lot of tabletop specific realms, like being able to have like those associated realms that instantly come up when you join like the Tabletop Guild, so that way you can go and see.
That's really awesome, especially if you can have multiple. So like if somebody's if somebody's private realm is a variety of, they do tabletop but they also have video games, they could be associated with both. I think that would be awesome. Yeah, I
don't think there would be a limit on how many public realms they can appear in. Like the limit, if anything, would be the number of realms that you can feature in a public realm, but that would be more for the engineers to kind of answer. But it is something that like we have been discussing like in our meetings where we try and figure out the path forward.
And that also gives public realm owners something, it's gonna sound bad, but something to do. If that makes sense, because at the end of the day, right, because a public realm is something that anybody can stream into, you want a public realm to have personality, you want a public realm to have flair, but you also don't really want it to be limiting too much in that regard, because anybody can stream there. So really it is like Anthony was saying, like organization of like how you want to handle it. So maybe we can have like events where we do kind of like Twitch events, right? Where like if it's a certain month or something like that, like we can celebrate those types of creators by highlighting them in certain moments, and that's all what the public realm owner can do to keep an active and fun and engaging public realm.
Yeah,
I think that's
I have a question. I have a question for you both, and for folks in chat. Hey, Michael in chat. I see Silent Brad. Thanks for all stopping by. We've been going about like how do we make, like, in the future, how are more public realms created, right? This first batch was, if you applied by a certain date and it was appropriate, you got it. But we've closed that to see how this first tranche plays out. My thought is, I know a lot of people they love those programs like the partner program and the affiliate program. Now, we're very different in the way of like all those programs, the benefits they have really don't fit with ours, because like you have those benefits plus maybe more out the gate on Moonbeam. But I think for like realm owners, there's something there about, if you're a good private realm owner, maybe there's ways where you hit a certain thing and that allows you to open up a public realm. It's like this person has managed a community, it grew, it got to this point, because there's a big difference, I think, between the expectation of like, I mean, imagine Moonbeam with a lot of people. Being a public realm owner might not be a joke. It's like, that's a scary thing. People just streaming there, posting there, like it's a lot of work to manage.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, how do we know who those are and how do we facilitate that? I don't know. Just food for thought. Question. What do you think?
Yeah.
I have thoughts.
Go for it.
I love analytics and statistics, so I think a combination of tenure, growth rate, and then a probation period of a public realm.
No,
if that makes sense. Like maybe a public realm with a little less like rights. I don't know what the word is for, but like less things they can do during the probation period. And then I like growth rate personally because, like, if you compare Pathfinder to D&D or video games to tabletop, like video games are going to hit 1,000 people while tabletop going to hit 100, 200. But it's about how they grew, basically, is my thought.
It's not comparing apples to oranges in that, if you do growth rate. That makes sense. To poke a hole in that, though, if the goal is always to have less public realms than private realms, then what you're kind of, there's a natural cap in that, right? Where like you're also not always going to think of a topic of a public realm that may necessarily be relevant to you, or there's already this public realm that serves my interests, so what do I do? So how would you sort of handle that, right, where there's that interruption to that path of growth?
Yeah, that goes back to kind of like why you see overlap right now. I think initially, and unless like when we do multi-realm streaming, it's going to be like one public realm to one private realm. But I think what will happen is it'll be like one public realm to infinite private realms potentially, right?
Right.
I don't know if we'll grow the like ratio to public realms much. And so I think there will be a need for overlap. It's like, why is there Starbucks and then why is there Caribou and then why is there Dunkin' Donuts? Like,
of course,
you could have. So with public realms, I don't want to say like they're going to compete, but I also think like they do need to compete to some extent, because not everybody may like. If we go to the very modular vibe approach, like you mentioned, for example, someone's vibe of their approach to public realm just might be more enjoyable for some people. So I think that's kind of like, just had a very cursory thinking about it. I think that's like, someone shouldn't feel afraid to create a realm that touches on a similar topic, if you will.
Yeah, for sure.
It brings me to Reddit again, because you know there's a there's a Pathfinder _RPG subreddit, I believe, and then a Pathfinder 2E subreddit.
Yeah.
Technically, on the surface of, there's no distinct, like, you wouldn't necessarily know. You might find posts relevant to you in both, but you get the vibes and you eventually fall into whichever one that you like the vibes with more. So I think, I'm not shying away from overlap, but I guess, if you're looking at the growth rate and then you're looking at only a specific percentage of your, you know, private realm owners and everything like that. That could definitely
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, supply, demand, and competition kind of like fix a lot of things by itself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that makes
I do
sense.
think what you said about earlier about the tagging system, if there is that form of discoverability as well, it divorces this kind of problem too, because then
That
some
does.
people may not like live in public realms. They might live in just like the discoverability of the tags and find content that way.
That's very interesting as well. So
Yeah.
I wanted to find what Michael in chat said. What Michael in chat said. If I, as an individual, want to stream to a public square, because I actually really like potentially calling them like public squares or something like that. Not that it's my call, but I like that. I might pick the tags tabletop, board games, and family. Anyone looking for people streaming to any of those tag squares might find me there, or any combo of those tags.
Mhm.
I feel like there is some opportunity because we have that in-house like Pixis or Moby, I don't know which would be,
Mhm.
to look at who, just analyze the data.
Mhm.
You have people streaming in these main categories. These are the ones that overlap the most. Here's an opportunity for a public square, or here is a space where there's a lot of overlap of users. Like there's a lot of opportunity there to kind of see where users are finding their little homes as well,
Mhm.
and identifying if maybe there's a public square that's needed or something like that.
Yes. No, I agree. And that's the cool thing about what we could do for discoverability here is there's a lot of data and a lot of way of presenting it that I think will be neat, because we have a lot more data than like Twitch, because you have like all this chat and all this posts. You could just get a lot more information of what someone likes. Like if they're engaging with, because the tags could apply to posts too, right? So like if you're engaging a lot with the posts that are tagged this, and you're engaging with the streams that are this, it's just a lot of like information we could help connect people
Yeah.
and discover. So yeah, I think that's
I'd be as tags grow, I'd be very curious to see how. I think you have some tags right now, right? But not a lot of tags. Is that correct?
It's limited at the
Okay.
moment.
It's limited. I wish there was a way to like unlimit, but also spell check when it comes to tags. Because half the time I'm like, no, I didn't want a new tag. I just spelled that wrong.
Yeah.
But when that kind of grows, when you have your tagging system kind of grow a little bit, and you can tag posts, and you can tag live streams, and you can tag realms. I think it'll be very, very interesting to see where that discoverability is most found, because I think that will impact public realms the most. Because if you're looking at that and you find out, actually, again, over time, 80% of users are using tags, not public realms, that's going to shift. That's the needs of the business, so to speak, are going to handle it differently. So I'd be very curious to see where the overlap and differences are between tagging and public realms.
I like that. Okay. That's a good. We have about 5 more minutes here before we wrap up. So any questions from chat, feel free to throw them in. But I do think tagging is going to get more robust. Discoverability is something we're like talking about all the time. And so because I'll tell you, one of the most surprising things to me was the way posts have been used, and that alone for discoverability has been very interesting to me, of like just seeing that on the front page. And before they existed on the front page, I didn't know where people were talking. I didn't even know what's going on in the realm. Right. And now it's like there's a little blip, a bleep, and I'm like, oh, what's going on here? And it like can lead that. So I think tagging will just amplify that even more.
I think having a tag for each public realm would be awesome, so that I can make a post in my private realm and not have to copy paste and make that post in the tabletop realm as well. I can say, I'm tagging this one as the tabletop realm one, so I want this to go to both, because I am already a realm, assuming I'm a realm that's already associated with that. That would be nice. So that way you're like, okay, it makes it way easier on the creator to get. At the end of the day, what I currently use post, and everybody's going to use post a little bit differently, is to spread that information of announcements, things from our brand to as many people as possible. Hey, we're going live, Tuesday,
like
et cetera, et cetera.
So taking the post from the private realm and broadcasting it into the public. I like
to
it.
whatever associated realms you have, and then whatever. Yeah, I think that'd be very cool. I like it.
Discord actually has a tiny functionality like that. You can allow other people to like follow your channel basically.
Right.
And then so if you make an announcement, it asks you, it's like, do you want to post this in all the channels that follow your announcements? And so like it's out there, you know. So I think that's possible.
So we use that association of, I'm a private realm that's associated with these 1, 2 max public realms. I post, and then the public realm has, or I post, so yes, I want to spread this to the associated realms, and then we have an automatic sort of capture of that, kind of like Discord. I like that.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Well, question from chat, or from Michael in chat here. How does someone get a private realm in the future? So right now, it's just through the form we have, the makeshift form that Taylor can get anybody if they request it. In the future, that'll be like, you just click a button, make a realm, boop, and then you get it. So we're just kind of like, again, seeing some initial things before we go ham with a bunch of realms. We want to kind of like meter that and just make it to see what features are needed. But that's it right now. So in the future, it'll be like Discord, make a server, boom, and you're good to go.
And I think as you add to the features and functionalities of profiles, people's individual profiles, if I can make a post,
yep,
and I can show what realms I'm in and all of that type of stuff, you're probably gonna have the fix to what you were talking about, where people had like made private realms or back to the private realm level and aren't utilizing it. Some people probably don't want a realm. Some people probably just want a profile they can post to. And then some people want realms, and I think that'll help shake things out as well based off of that.
Yeah. Cool.
The
well,
last quick idea that I had, and I have a bullet point that I didn't want to forget. I think a really cool feature for public realms owners is to be able to curate the VODs. Curation of VODs in private realm versus recently on vibes for a public realm. That's the difference, right? Here's my VODs in a private realm, and then here's like recently on, almost like you're on TV. Because if I want to watch a channel, I don't know what I want to watch, and I open up on TV, that would be my public realm. And then I could also see not just those that are live now, but recently on. And then so each individual person should be able to delete their VODs whenever they want to. But I think it'd be nice if the public realm owner could set a time limit of expiration after X days, after X time, for a public realm VOD to fall off of that carousel.
Yeah, especially if it's a really niche topic, because you could have something up there for months, like.
Yep.
Yeah, there's thoughts on that. That's for a separate thing, but the longevity of VODs is a topic that we've talked about internally. I have thoughts on that, but yes, I do like what you're saying. Essentially, allowing the public realm owner to be the content curator.
Yep.
And stuff of any content that they're allowed to curate. So I like that. Yes, I agree. Cool. Well, any final thoughts? Thanks for joining us, and I appreciate hearing these kind of things, because Taylor and I will take this back to the team, and this is some great stuff as we think through and watch the next month or so of just like what happens in public realms, how they shake out, because we don't have the answers. Like we're creating something new, so it's going to take everybody to kind of like give their perspectives, and that's the realm owners and the folks who watch and the people who like to post. Like everybody has a role in that, and then data driven, we could take and look at what are the needs, and we could use the scarce resources we have to build to the needs that we need.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Y'all are doing awesome. This is really exciting, and I love every update that we've seen. I get so excited. So
yeah.
Awesome. Taylor, anything? Comments?
I have no comments. Like I said, I'm here to support. I've been taking notes. I've been being dragged in chat. So I'm doing my job.
Nice. Well, for those in chat who want to hang out a little bit more, we're going to take a quick 10-15 minute break, but then myself and a few of the pilots, we're going to come back and we're going to play some games together. So hang out with us if you want. And then I'll just drop a few quick updates here for things to watch out for. So Michael has been hard at work on the phone app. Okay. That is going to it's actually been completely rehauled. I'm just going to put it that way. It looks very cool. A lot of new ways it's going to interact with. Public realms will be on there. Post now kind of look like a Twitter feed, essentially. It's kind of cool. So a lot of mobile updates coming in the next week or so. There are some updates being pushed to fix a lot of bugs that have been reported with like hey, I got a notification and the channel doesn't show anymore, stuff like that. JD and the team are actually working on that right now, and that's going to get pushed tomorrow. So yeah, hell yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. Thanks everybody. You all want to plug your socials and where to find you on Moonbeam or anything?
Yeah, we're in the Waffles Maple Syrup realm. Y'all come join us and come hang out there. We've been sick a little bit. Waffles is now under the weather. I passed it on, so we didn't play this past Tuesday, but we'll be back for our Golem show on May 6th. So if you want to check it out, we're on episode 2. We just premiered.
Nice.
That's mine too. I'll take that one.
There you go. All right, everybody. Well, hey, take care. We'll see you.